Hi, my name is Lee. Welcome to Karan Suksa School, just outside of Bangkok. This is a primary school. We teach Pratham 1 through 6, which are the primary grades in Thailand. I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. I'm a Floridian. I was born and raised in Melbourne, Florida. I went to university at Furman University in South Carolina. After I finished, and that was as a substitute teacher at my old high school. I did that for about a year and a half while waiting for a Peace Corps assignment, which I finally got to go to Burkina Faso, which is a former French colony in West Africa. And there I taught in a rural secondary school, a rural lycée. And it was in Peace Corps I got my first TEFL training. The training focused on getting the students to use the language creatively. We would give them some rote activities and then try to encourage them to use it creatively. It was a pretty easy job in terms of teaching, and not in terms of living conditions, but in terms of teaching. It was a pretty easy job because all my students could speak 3, sometimes in some cases 5 languages. So getting them to speak English was an easy step. I finished my Peace Corps service, and then I returned to the United States where I worked in the hospitality industry. I worked in several hotels in the Washington, D.C. area for a few years, kind of deciding what my next move was going to be. And I worked as a concierge, as a doorman, as a bellman. And it was a lot of fun. I picked up a lot of good service habits. I'm a very service-oriented person. And I finally decided that I wanted to go back into teaching. So my idea was that I wanted to pursue my French. I had learned a lot of French while I was in Peace Corps. So I went and I took classes at University of District of Columbia, where I studied French for about 18 semester hours, which was enough to become a French teacher. I got a teaching qualification, a teaching credential from the state of California. I did secure a job. I did get a job in California. Half the day was teaching social studies, the other half teaching French, which was a perfect job, but unfortunately it didn't pay enough money to really live on. So I moved out to Hawaii and kind of worked some small jobs, kind of trying to figure out what my next step was going to be. And I came to Thailand. I came to Asia in 2002, got back into teaching full time. When I came back, one of the things I did was I took about a 20-25 hour course on issues of teaching young learners. Since I've been in Thailand, I have taught primarily at language schools, primarily I would say conversation classes, but I've taught everything. I've worked with kids a lot in the language schools because in the weekends, that's generally what you do is you teach kids on the weekends, adults during the week. I was also given a lot of corporate assignments. I've taught academic writing, TEFL, pretty much everything they teach in language schools. I did spend 1 year in Korea 2 years ago. I taught at Pagoda, which is a very large language school in Seoul. I taught there for a year. I decided to take a break from Thailand for a year. I wanted to see another part of Asia. It was a really good experience. Really expanded my understanding of Asia.